Episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And on today's episode, it's pregame. The Bulls are facing the Celtics tonight after getting blown out at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. How do the Chicago Bulls respond to that blowout? Does some rest help them play better against probably one of the teams playing the best in the league? The NBA's leading scorer in Jason Tatum is coming in town with the Boston Celtics. We're going to get into all that and more, but first, got to cut that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. The Bulls face the Boston Celtics today in a game in which we hope that they are going to respond quite better than what they did to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hopefully some rest helped them. Hopefully they come in renewed defensively because they're going to have to. You have the number one scorer in the NBA right now, Jason Tatum, and the number 18 scorer as well in Jesus Christ, Jaylen Brown. And then on top of that, you have the reigning defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench. The front line is a little bit thin right now, and this is a game in which Nikola Vucevic has to cook this game. When you look at like Noah Vonleh and after Al Horford and things like that, Andre Drummond and Nikola Vucevic should combine to have a much better game than what they had. I hope so. It's going to be interesting night overall. Got to cover the Bears. So I have a Bears post-game, a post-game here, a post-game over on Locked on Bulls. Your boy is going to be working tonight. I'm going to have several screens up watching both these teams play. But with that being said, we're talking about Bulls right now, and I hope the Bulls respond much better in this game. I said earlier in the season that the story with the Bulls and how they can compete against the better teams in the NBA is going to be told early on. We have 4 games this week, but we have a lot of games against marquee teams in our first 2 weeks of the season. Right now, the Bulls are 1-2. And so, however they come out of this stretch, it's going to be telling for where this team could sit in the standings. We got Boston today. We got Indiana Wednesday. San Antonio, even though they're playing pretty well, we don't expect them. Philly on Saturday, which is Philly's not playing good right now. Joel Embiid does not look himself. Then we got Brooklyn on TNT, Charlotte, Boston, Toronto. We got a lot of tough games in these first 3 weeks of the season, and it's not going to get any easier. So hopefully the Bulls respond a little bit better today, and we'll see what it is. Smear60 says, what up, Haize? What's going on, Smear? Chi-Town Javier says, hey, you told me not to worry about the Cavs. Listen, bro, I still say if the Bulls were playing like we know they can play, I wouldn't worry about the Cavs as far as that backcourt. But again, Donovan Mitchell had a super efficient night. When you look at scoring 32 points on 19 shots, that's just not the usual output from Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, we got blown out, period, at home, and we got to play them better, period. So we'll see. Crazy Boys Play says, dang, I'm the only son here. Nah, bro, we got people in the chat. Come on now. Now, usually a lot in the pregame show, but, nonetheless, we're here to rock it out anyway. He also says, guys, let's all pray to Jesus that the Bulls don't play like a team overseas for the 3rd time in a row. Man, hopefully they play much better. Yasir says, yo, what up, Haize? You think P-Will is finally going to show up tonight? Listen, like I said before, and I don't know how often you watch me or not, I'm not looking for P-Will to do a lot on the offensive end. I want to see him show up on the defensive end. Let's make your name defensively. Let's let the offense come to you when you're ready. But I hope that P-Will makes an impact defensively tonight. That's what I want to see from P-Will. You're looking at a team in which he's going to be guarding probably either Jason Tatum at times, right? I don't know how much of Horford's going to be switched on him, but he needs to step up and play well defensively today. That's what I want to see. That's what I would be challenging P-Will with if I was his coaching staff to motivate him, is to say, hey, listen, you don't have confidence on offense, it's fine. We want to see you do some things. We're going to try to build up your confidence. But in the meantime, the thing that you can control always is how you play defense. And so I want to see Patrick Williams have a big night defensively. I think that it's coming. I don't know if it comes tonight. I don't know if it comes later on in the week. I don't know, man. I have no idea, but we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. But all right, let's go ahead and move in. Donovan Mitchell is the truth. No, see, and this is the thing. I've watched Donovan Mitchell play for a long time. Donovan Mitchell was cool, but Donovan Mitchell also, as much as he can score, can shoot you in the foot at times. And the thing is, he was out there without Garland. Him and Garland together have been when they're out there on the floor together, have been very inefficient. both offensively and defensively. They put up numbers, but they've done so inefficiently. We'll see how it comes along. I'm not really worried about the Cavs long term. Shane O'Mac, first of all, you got to do the little. Shane O'Mac had a run. Yo, Haize, I just wanted to close tonight. To be close tonight, I thought our Bulls would be so much better this season. Well, again, it's 3 games. You remember the Boston Celtics that started off that, for the most part of last season, were a 500 team, and they didn't look good overall. You remember how they came along in the second half? We got to stop trying to write the story on teams 3 games in. It's 3 games in. Let's see. In 2 of those games, they were missing Zach LaVine. Let's see how it comes. Let's see how it comes together. Give DT some more minutes. No, listen, I love Dalen Terry, right? And I think Dalen Terry's future is bright on this team. But if we are starting to say our success hangs on a rookie, it's not going to, like, I want to see him get about 8 to 10 minutes a game. I do think he deserves that. But it's not, Dalen Terry isn't the answer to solve what's wrong with the Bulls. He's just not. What do you think the Bulls will need to beat Boston today? They need an effort on the defense. Everything with Boston in the way, as if they are the leading team in field goal percentage as a team. They have the leading scorer in the NBA. They have the 18th overall scorer in the NBA. This is a team that can put up points on you quick. The Bulls have to be locked in defensively. We know that they can score. We know that DeMar, we know that Zach, we know that Vooch can get to cooking. And this is a game in which when Al Horford is not on the court, and if Vooch is on the court, Vooch got a ball, because there's no way Noah Vonleh should be stopping Nikola Vucevic. So we gotta see, man. We gotta see. But defense is going to be the first thing with this team. It's going to be the first thing with this team tonight. Three games in, I can tell you the Lakers are bums. Yeah, but we knew they were bums coming into the season. The only reason anybody gave the Lakers any chance as far as mainstream media is just because they're the Lakers. Period. This team is not good. On paper, any way that you can stretch it, in Jesus' handbook, Moses wrote a scroll that said that this team is going to suck. It's in Moses' scroll. Right along with the 10 Commandments, it said in 2022 there will be a person that's hairline deficient in LeBron James, and his team is bound to suck. You put a bad hairline, a Ninja Turtle, and a Chucker all on the same, and Mr. Glass all on the same team, you're bound not to get anything positive. You're just bound not to get anything positive. This man called him Alonzo. I know Alonzo fingertips burning looking at this. Oh, man. 30 and 30 for Vooch. Come on, bro. Let's be realistic, man. Let's be realistic. That's not nothing to, like, even if he, 20, let's 20 and 20. Can we say that? Not 30 and 30, right? That'd be crazy, man. That'd be crazy. Not the answer. I just think he should get more playing time. He plays with passion. Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, there are a lot of players that play with passion that don't necessarily translate to wins. And this team is trying to win. But I do agree that Dalen Terry needs some tick, right? He needs some tick. Let him earn that role. I thought that Dalen Terry would get, like, the Ayo Dosunmu minutes in the first, like, part of the season where he would get in for, like, 6 to 8 minute stretches and play really good, and then it'd be like, oh, we're going to keep you out here a little bit longer. I hope we actually put up a fight like we did against the Heat, like we have potential, just got to fix. Yeah, we got some things to work on. Definitely got some things to work on. Shay. What? Whoa. I guarantee you my legs can hold up better than Anthony Davis, and I have cerebral palsy. Wow. Factual. Very factual. But wow, nonetheless. What? Wow, Shay. You've been going in, bro. You've been going in. I'm seeing a lot of the same problems from last year. Too dependent on DeMar. Bench is not reliable and lack of physical presence under the basket. I would say too dependent on DeMar. I wouldn't. In the first game, no, we weren't too dependent on DeMar. DeMar, we had the game tied and DeMar had 9 points. Now, DeMar is a scorer and he is going to take over, but it wasn't dependent on DeMar. Second game, there were some things that reared its ugly head that felt like the last year's Bulls. And the Cavs game, I don't even know where to begin with that. But I'm not really ready to say that this team is too dependent on DeMar. Not quite yet. I'm not ready to see that quite yet. Who you watching more of tonight, Haize? Bulls? No, what do you mean? None. I'm watching both of them. I got 2 screens. We watching both games at the same damn time. Listen, we don't, come on now. This we don't pick our favorite. We don't pick favorite children. We support them both evenly. I need to see people show up and have some sort of presence in any way. Like I said, I've been calling for him to defense more than anything. Defense. Shay's spitting facts. Like Shay is on something, bro. Like that, Shay's been on one. As soon as Lauri leaves, he starts dropping. No, it's not as soon. What do you mean? It's over a year. It's not as soon. He starts dropping crazy numbers. Lauri started off last season really good for the Cavs, and then went right back to being Lauri Markkanen over the course of that season. Lauri is in a new situation. He's playing really good right now. It's not gonna hold up though. It's not going. Believe me, it's not gonna hold up. And if it does, shout out to him. Start Drummond with Vooch. No, that's literally the worst possible lineup that you can put out there. Starting Drummond with Vooch literally shrinks the floor so much, and then you have DeMar who only operates in the mid-range. You got 3 players that are going to be from 5 to 10 feet, 5 to 15 feet of the basket. No, that is not good. Like, no. Starting Drummond with Vooch is not the answer to anything other than your team looking old and slow and getting exposed on pick and rolls even more. Period. Yes, sir. King, true Chicago, and you already know I support my teams, fam. Lauri gonna fall back to earth. He always does. Like, don't get all right now. We're flipping February Markkanen when he was with the Bulls to the beginning of the season Markkanen. Like I said, if he's able, all jokes aside, if he's able to maintain this over the course of the season, shout out to Lauri for focusing in and having a big season. But I tell you what, right now, Lauri keeps playing like this too long. Danny Ainge about to trade his ass for sure. Danny Ainge sitting back like, hey, man, listen, we're supposed to be tanking. Lauri, you're hurt. You're not hurt. The Utah Jazz are one of only 2 undefeated teams in the Western Conference right now. That's crazy. Technically, right now, they're number 1 in the Western Conference. After they traded away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. That's wild, fam. That is crazy. That is wild. Lauri Markkanen is averaging 24 points on 37 minutes, 9.7 rebounds, almost 4 assists, 1.3 steals, almost a block. Listen, and he has a PER of 28. I'm telling you right now, that ain't maintaining at all. If it does, wow. Shout out to Lauri. That would be almost double what his highest PER is in his career. We'll see. Like I said, everybody comes along. Lauri isn't old either. He's 25. Lauri still very much has potential. He still very much can grow some. I don't think it's going to happen for Lauri, but it could. It very well could be. Reginald Short in the building says, just got here, Haize, but quick question. Do you think Palpatine or Vader were appearing and/or would it take away from the series? I don't think either one. I don't expect it. If anything, I think the bigger cameo would be like if they Obi-Wan filmed something that like he like shows up in the background somewhere or something. Keeping Lauri would have been better than draft. No, it wouldn't have. No, it would like this. And this is the issue with Bulls fans, right? This is the issue with sports fans in general, is that they always think the grass is greener on the other side. Lauri and Vooch next to each other would have been horrible. You talking about our defensive lapses now? Prepare to give up 50 points a night just from the front court. It doesn't work. It didn't work. No, it wasn't better. And also, Lauri was over being here. Kmart Jr. expressed a desire to be traded early this season. The Bulls were listed as a team that should consider trading for him. What do you think? I like his energy. Again, and I'm not saying you because I don't know for sure if you've said it, but Bulls fans are tired of small ball. What's he, 6'5", I think? He's not, like, I don't even think he's 6'6". Let me take a look to just make sure before I put my foot in my mouth. But I believe he is... Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. He's 6'7". Oh, I absolutely be interested in it. Fuck it. I take it back. Listen, I could admit when I'm wrong. Yeah, fuck it. I was wrong, period. If you could have had one back, who would it be, Lauri or Wendell? Wendell. Because I think Wendell, even though his offensive game I think his offense is improved statistically just because of more opportunities, he's having a really good season next to Paolo too, Banchero. Like they a nice offensive defensive front court. But if anyone, I'd say Wendell because of the defense. I think Wendell, he probably wouldn't accept the bench role. And again, I'm saying in my mind, I'm thinking we work out a trade where we still keep Vooch, but Wendell being the starting center right now, I don't even think will look terribly bad. I just think that this team needed to accelerate some and they needed to add some, but I would pick Wendell all day over Lauri. Because I think Wendell's game, the fact that he does have a defensive game that he can settle on more than Lauri does, I think it's a chance. Hey, y'all, have y'all seen how Gafford's played this season? I know his first couple seasons after leaving the Bulls, it was like, oh, we could have used that. Gafford is marginally, he's just a guy. Like, don't get me wrong. Gafford, I still would have liked us to be able to keep Daniel Gafford, but we were never going to give him the contract he's on right now. But Daniel Gafford is not having the best season so far in this season. Like, there's a reason why his minutes got cut so drastically. You look at him playing 16.3 minutes per game. That's cut drastically. His PER isn't terrible. It's 14.67, but Daniel Gafford is not playing great right now. Now, again, you could be saying have him as the backup center. At that point, I'm not hating it. But he's not giving you, think about it. Drummond's only averaging 2 more minutes per game, and look at what Drummond's giving you over Daniel Gafford. It's considerable. Like, it's not even close. So, no, I think everything worked out the way that it was supposed to there. In my opinion. Again, my opinion. My opinion holds no more weight than anybody else's. Zanny, fresh. Lauri, Bobby, Wendell all looking like they gave up on him too fast. I still don't know why they chose Mirotic over Bobby, because Bobby was a better player, a considerably better player. Bobby Portis is heads and shoulders above Nikola Mirotic in the NBA. I know he's putting up numbers overseas, but that never really translated to the NBA. Bobby Portis is a better player, and they would have kept Bobby. Remember, people forget. Now, people have this retroactive history. They offered Bobby Portis an extension. He declined it, so they moved it rather than getting in a bidding war for him. And keep in mind, he just got the money that they offered him 4 years ago this past offseason. So Bobby Portis was the better pick over Mirotic, easily. That's not even close. Lauri isn't good, period. He's okay. He's a solid player, but let's not acting like we gave up on him too fast. He's still Lauri Markkanen. What Bobby turned into, I wish we would have kept Bobby. Wendell's cool. He's cool. P. Will is hardly a bust. See, this is, again, that knee-jerk reaction to fans that don't. What has P. Will shown defensively? Now, again, to admit, this season, he seems even off defensively. But to act like but P. Will, especially in his rookie season, didn't have the utmost defense. Again, P. Will has played one full season in 20 games. It's way too early to say somebody's a bust. Anybody who's labeling P. Will a bust when he hasn't even had a full second season, technically, he's still playing through what would have been his second season amount of games, is just having a knee-jerk reaction. We've seen players go way further into their career and still turn it around than what P. Will has. So to say that he's a bust right now, no. To say that it may look like it's trending that way, I can get with, but let's see how it turns out. Portis was worth going into the luxury tax for. No, not at that time, not where that team was. He wasn't worth, and they wouldn't have gone into the luxury tax for him. Keep in mind, when we offered him that extension, we weren't going to go into the luxury tax. He turned it down. Not the Bulls because of money or because of being cheap. He turned down that extension. So no, but was he even at that time would he have been worth going into the luxury? Hell no. That Bulls team was winning 26 games. That's not worth going into the luxury tax for. It's just not. We need to acknowledge that Lauri is balling in Utah and Wendell is balling in Orlando. This doesn't mean that they could immediately play that way on a competitive team. This shouldn't move anyone. Smear 60, great words there, brother. Great words. Would you rather get Giannis and have Jim Boylan as your head coach, or trade DeMar for Westbrook but have Phil Jackson as your coach? Neither. Phil Jackson, we've seen. Phil Jackson couldn't coach in this NBA. His time, everything comes and goes and ebbs and flows. I love Phil Jackson. He's historically one of the best coaches in all-time history. But today, it wouldn't work unless he adjusts his game. So I'd rather get the talent in Giannis and then let that work itself out. That's exactly how I feel about Justin Fields. He's literally playing his 17th game tonight. And keep in mind, in Justin Fields' first season's worth of games, he's like 28,000 yards, like 17 touchdowns, of course, like 30 interceptions. But that's what you would expect from a quarterback in their first year. Calm down, y'all. We got to stop trying to pull the trigger on people so early. Can we please stop with the woulda, coulda, shoulda mentality? Because that way I see it, the way I see it, everything happens for a reason. Now, Wendell and Bobby Porter, this did turn out to be good, but look at us now. There you go. There you go. What if P. Will is doing the same thing after 20 games? Then what? Then he's still a 21-year-old player that this front office is still going to invest in. It's still too early to say that he's a bust. P. Will can play this way the whole season, and it's still too early to say he's a bust for sure. You can say, hey, this ain't looking good. This ain't, and it's not looking good now. But it's way too early to label somebody a bust at this point in their career. I have the Bulls on my projector and the Bears in my TV, either going to be very good or very bad night for sure. Me and Pat the designer were talking about that earlier. That hoodie is cold, bro. So my boy Baylor, he has a company called Baylorism is the name of it, and he custom made this in Chicago Bulls colors for me. So it says buckets, dimes, wet boards, cookies, and heat check. And on the run with BTG is what that means right there. But yeah, it's a custom hoodie. Custom. We do a custom over here, brother. Custom over here, man. I meant going into Luxury Tax Porter's last offseason. He was a free agent last year. I would say no, but only because it doesn't make you a championship team. And I'm taking in mind this ownership. This ownership, unless it makes you a surefire championship team, they're not going into luxury tax. Now, because adding talent to the team is important, and you can still move some things if you need it. Like, for example, the Bulls could have signed Bobby Portis almost at the deal he got, and then traded Kobe White, and then into somebody else's cap space if they found a deal. But Bobby Portis would have been great on this team, and I think what he could have brought offensively and defensively, either off the bench or in the starting lineup, could have been huge, man. I feel you on Phil Jackson, but there are coaches that have taken parts of that triangle and been parts of it. But see, that's the thing. Phil Jackson is so stubborn. I don't know if he would have adjusted to take parts of the triangle. Look at it, even when he tried to bring the triangle to New York, when they tried it for like a quarter of a season, they still ran the traditional triangle. So I don't know, like if he could adjust, which he's a smart enough coach to do, I just don't know if he would have. But if Phil Jackson were to adjust the triangle and really take a look at it and try to keep in mind, he's the mastermind of it, but he didn't necessarily create the triangle. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It could go either way. This is a fact. People never give Tex Winters his due respect, by the way. They really don't. They really don't. Give the Sacramento Kings some respect. There's a lot of teams that deserve some respect. The Sacramento Kings are not one of those. Sacramento Kings get no respect. They are 0-3. What the fuck Sacramento Kings need respect for? You know what? The only thing with the Kings are they're probably trying to win and they're losing all their games. The moment they decide to tank, they'll start going undefeated because the Kings just can't do shit right. They can't do shit right. Jonathan Eji says, wifey going to be mad with one game on the TV, one on my phone. Hey, you got to, by any means necessary, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do, fam. All right, what else we got? How you going to manage? We live in 2022. I have so many TVs in this house and screens that I could put things on. Listen, I can put on Google Glass and watch it, and I can do a lot. Listen, by any means necessary. Now I'm pulling it up on my iPad. I'm gonna be watching the Bears game, and then I'll be having the Bulls game on the TV. Unless the Bulls start losing and getting blown out, then it's gonna switch. Whatever team's winning is gonna get the big screen. Whatever team's losing is gonna get the little screen. If they're both winning, then by God, we just gonna work it out. I don't even know. We don't even know. Zanny Fresh says, realistically, as constructed, I don't believe we have enough to compete with the top teams. We will be a middling team at best if the Bulls don't get some legit defenders and shooters. Here, what do you mean legit? We have legit defenders. We have Drummond. We have Caruso. We have Ayo Dosunmu. We have, when Lonzo's healthy, we also have Lonzo. Javante's a solid defender. You don't have to have defenders at every single position. Now, P. Will waking up defensively can really change some things as well. I think the Bulls have enough defensively. They just have to lock in. And I've said it before. One of the things that I said that I wanted to see in my season predictions for Zach LaVine, I want to see Zach LaVine take more ownership on the defensive end. I absolutely wanted to see. We've seen DeMar do it. In the first 2 games, DeMar stepped up big time defensively, especially when needed. I want to see that from Zach LaVine as well, but I think we have enough balance on this team. It's just we need to be consistent with it, period. Passive Pat just need to focus on rebounds and being a pest on defense. Passive P, absolutely. Like, the thing is, Passive P, just by nature of playing hard defensively, not just out there playing defense or team defense, I mean going at your guy, making your guy feel your presence physically, that type of thing. If Patrick Williams does that, go after the boards hard on offense and defense, he's already proven he's going to get 5 to 7 shots per game just doing him, right? And that's being Passive P. If he's more aggressive, especially on the offensive rebounding end, and then puts some of those back, that helps build your confidence. Patrick just got to go out there and want it, period. He just got to go out there and want it. Yes, indeed. Zach just wants to shoot threes. That's not true at all. And it's stuff like, and again, I don't say this to be offensive, but it's stuff like this that I have to question how much actually of these basketball games. Do you guys have League Pass? Do you just watch what's on nationally televised games? Do you just look at the stat sheet and try to determine this? Zach just wants to shoot threes? Zach last season, for example, averaged 2.5 to 7 3-pointers per game. You know what? That was one of the lowest of his career. Zach does not just want to shoot threes. So far this season, again, 1 game, he took 6 3-pointers. Again, that's less than last season, which last season was one of the least of his career. To say that Zach LaVine just wants to shoot threes, I got to question how much basketball you guys are watching, period. Because he doesn't just want to shoot threes by any stretch of the imagination. Leonard Thomas in the building. He says it's time to make the next trade. Bulls, Pacers, Raptors. What? No, we're not doing no trade. But with that being said, Leonard, you were supposed to start a podcast. Where's your show at, brother? You know I'll be after y'all with the content. Where's the content, bro? You promised that you were going to be starting a show. Where's the show at, Leonard? Where's the show, brother? We need that podcast, fam. We need that podcast. You can tell people that don't actually watch games, fam. It's evident every time, bro. Every time, man. Why don't they put Malcolm Hill in the rotation off the bench? He can shoot threes. Keep in mind, Malcolm Hill is a 2-way contract player, meaning that he can only play in 15 NBA games this season, and then he's regulated to the G League at that point. There's no need. Like, you're not going to see Malcolm Hill unless somebody's injured. You're not going to see it. Actually, I saw them play live against the Wizards. One thing I noticed was the improved communications on defense. Didn't see the Cleveland game, so not sure what happened there. Fair enough. Fair enough. I went to the home opener, and it was so frustrating to see the guards switch onto the Cavs bigs all game long. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Steve O Speak says, did I join in with some box score watchers in the chat? Absolutely, fam. You already know. Hey, do you think the Vooch should dominate the paint tonight? I think we should take advantage of that until the Celtics adjust their defense. Agreed. Vooch working from that inside out would be great. It's sad, but honestly, I think 82% of Bulls fans don't watch basketball. Twitter has become very a way to consume NBA. Oh, I wouldn't even say 82% of Bulls fans. 82% of people who try to talk basketball don't actually watch games. They watch box scores, they watch ESPN highlights, and then they try to form a full opinion between all of that, period. So that's it. Like that's just period. And you can always tell when you try to actually have a conversation. They're like, "Oh, but he shot 2 for 10." Yeah, did you watch the game? Like you can always tell when somebody is just quoting stats that they read from the box score versus actually having a conversation about the basketball that they watched and took in. You can always tell a difference. It's a huge difference in that. Ooh, Gio says hot take 60 40 90 from the Bulls tonight. Okay. As a team? All right. Okay. Jonathan Aegis says, I just hope we don't let a bench player go off like we did all the time last. It was so much of that last season. So much of that. Like we got old boy from New Orleans paid, right? Dude with the long name. We got him paid. Pat's getting the start tonight. Breaking news. Patrick Williams is still the starting power. I would be honest. I did not expect that. D'Angelo, why not put him in? Because he's not good. Like, Malcolm Hill is solid, but he's not better than anybody on the roster. Who does Malcolm Hill need to play? And I'm sorry, I know some people are going to say above Patrick Williams just because of how bad. Malcolm Hill is not a better player than Patrick Williams. He's not. He's just not. So, game day, will this be both Pat, Will, and Justin's breakout night? Hey, listen, I'm telling you right now, if we get a Justin Fields win against a Bill Belichick coach team, and Patrick Williams has a big showing tonight against the best team statistically so far in the NBA and the Boston Celtics, listen, I'm taking shots. I'm going to line up 4 shots on this table. 2 for each player, and I'm taking them all back to back. And if you guys watch Chicago Bears, since you all know I already have a wager on Vildor and what type of impact he will have as well. I live in Michigan and asked a dude with a Bulls hat today if he was an actual game. If he was an actual game, he was like, "Oh yeah." And as soon as I said P. Will, you can tell he had no idea who I was talking about. Like, oh, he could have been a lapsed Bulls fan, which happens. So there are lapsed Bulls fans out there. If Pat and Green disappear again, we may. No, listen, I'm telling you right now, Billy Donovan doesn't know who Marko Simonovic is. I guarantee you right now, every time Billy Donovan looks down the bench and he sees Marko, he's like, damn, that ball boy is tall. That's a tall-ass ball boy right there. Hey, kid, what's your name? You said your name's Marko? Have you ever played basketball, Marko? You said you played overseas? You were the MVP? Wait, you're on the team? Where were you? You practiced with us yesterday? That's Billy Donovan every time he sees Marko Simonovic. Every time. They have the same conversation every time. What up, Haize, in the chat? What's going on, Brandon L. Jet? Malcolm Hill's garbage time hero. I was at the Suns game last year where we almost came back from the blowout loss because he got hot, but they didn't intentionally foul at the end. This is true. Have y'all ever thought that maybe Patrick Williams is not comfortable playing power forward spot? It seems to me that he just a little bit out of place. Well, keep in mind, and I've said this before, he is used as a power forward on this team the same way that Billy Donovan would use him at small forward. Before DeMar came here and Patrick Williams was the starting power forward, there's been nothing that's changed in the way that Billy Donovan has used Patrick Williams. Because the way that DeMar operates primarily in the mid-range, it's not like Patrick Williams out there playing back to the basket power forward. He's listed at the 4. He is playing the 4, but the style is the same style as a 3 on most teams. So I don't think that saves him. I just don't. What did Marko do to Billy? He sucked ass. That's what he did. He sucked. He sucked ass. Period. Who do you think will be the player of the game and why? I think Nikola Vucevic is going to have a big game. And by that, I don't mean like 35 points. I think Nick is going to have one of those 19, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks, 4 assists type games, and every one of those is going to be needed. Expecting Vooch to cause a lot of problems in the post tonight and P. Will to stick to Tatum like glue and keep him to 20 points. Listen, I don't even care. Let Jason Tatum get 35 points. But if that 35 points comes off 32 shots, I'm happy. That's just make him have an inefficient night, period. Brings up conversation, though. Any speculation on P. Will as a point forward? That's his best role, I think. Period. And, I think honestly, and this is not to say that P. Will would develop more. I think if DeMar wasn't on this team, right, and we know that the nature of how DeMar works, operates in the mid-range, has to have the ball in hands, things like that. I think if the Bulls, for example, when they signed DeMar, let's say they signed a different power forward, a power forward that could stretch the floor, and P. Will was playing 3, I think you would see P. Will used more as a ball handler at times. Let's say everything else stayed the same about last offseason. But instead of DeMar, I don't even know what power forward was available. Let's just put a random power forward. Let's say, for example, instead of DeMar, they brought in, let's say, Miles Turner. Right? I know there's some people, I don't think Miles Turner will do the best on this team. But let's say everything else last offseason, Lonzo, everything else, Caruso, everything else stays the same, but instead of DeMar, it's Miles Turner. Let's say at that point, your starting front court is Miles Turner and Nikola Vucevic, which would be fucking terrible defensively. But with that being said, in certain areas of defensively, because Miles Turner is a solid on-ball defender. Some of the off-ball shit with him is bad. But I think then at that point, you would see Patrick Williams used more as a point forward. You would see him used more as more things going through to him. If you look towards the end of his rookie season, we started to do some of that. So I think that's what would have changed some things. But you have DeMar, who you needed, who's great on this team. I wouldn't take away DeMar being on this team, but when you have a player like DeMar, who's a very unique player in the way that they need to be used, it limits how everybody else is used. When you look at, and it's not just a P. Will thing, right? There are players that are more aggressive when they play power forward for us, but if you look at every power forward in the last year that started at power forward for us, that is Javonte, that's Derrick Jones Jr., that's Patrick Williams. They all operate the same way, out on the corners, out on the edges. Now, Javonte slashes more than P. Will, but they operate in the same way, and that's because your power forward has to play a certain way, has to be put in certain positions for spacing when you have a player like DeMar that is not a threat to shoot the floor usually, period. If you're looking for, again, that's a casual fan thing. It shouldn't be about the points. You need to see make an impact. Shouldn't be about the points. Do you think Vooch is overrated? No, Vooch is as underrated, if anything. Vooch is one of the top centers in the NBA statistically, and then the efficiency he's having this season with less shots. Keep in mind, Vooch is averaging more points in this season on way less shots than what he did last season, and he's more efficient in doing so. Vooch is balling right now. Vooch was a top 10 center last season, contrary to what some fans would have you think. He's going to continue to be a top 10 center for a little while, at least. Now, age may eventually get to him at being already 32 years old, but Nikola Vucevic is averaging right now 1.5 more points per game on almost 3 less shots per game. He averaged 15.8 shots last season. He's averaging 13 shots even this season. So he's doing so on less shots. He's getting to the line and hitting that line more. He is 100% from the line right now. That's not going to maintain. But last season, for example, Nikola Vucevic averaged 1.7 free throws per game. He's averaging 5.3 free throws per game. You know why? Because he's operating down low a little bit more and getting people in foul trouble. Vooch is a top 10 center, period. But all right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it down. We got a little bit till game time starts. I need to eat. I need to get some sustenance and some alcohol in my system. Thank you so much for tuning in. 143 in the chat. I think we got up to like 160 at one point. Thank you for supporting Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you guys are back for the halftime hangout. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and our voicemail for our Saturday mailbag episodes, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. I see you at halftime. See red. Go Bulls. Peace, y'all.